welcome back to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Jameson, we got Ty, and we are here for some off-season news. The Cruton Corner has been going strong still, but mainly the portal has Giveth, mainly by way of the Tennessee Volunteers. And honestly, for this one, look, I can probably lead all right, but I know Jameson can take the lead on this one. So I'm going to hand the reins over to Jameson to host here. But first, how's everyone doing? We've gone almost a full month without OU football. So what have y'all been up to?
Go for it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the answer. Nothing. I've gotten into other sports a little bit. I know everyone's really into basketball. I've been to some gymnastics meets, which is always super fun. It's crazy to see the stuff that they do. And yeah, pretty much just waiting on football to come back. I'm not super into the NFL, so.
Fair enough. FCS coming back, that's going to be a good time. So we'll have to probably put together some pick'em pods for random FCS teams. I don't know. This offseason will be an interesting one. Jameson, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been hitting that NBA Top Shot game for all those who play NBA Top Shot. It is a virtual trading card kind of stock Bitcoin form, and it's been blowing up. So that has taken my time. But yeah, it's been really fun. And just back to OU football. Last time we talked, this coming year was supposed to be our year, the one that we projected to win, the national championship with that 2019 recruiting class. But at the end of the year, even after that win to Florida, I was kind of nervous that I didn't think we had it all. And we had a couple of spots on this team that really had some holes that weren't tip-top national championship talent. And I really think that the portal really helped us there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get right down to brass tacks here. Jameson, tell us what the Sooners have gained in the portal the past couple days.
Yeah, so everyone's heard about it. The Tennessee coming through. We've gotten a lot of guys through the portal, and you had to see this coming. I know some people were concerned of how many people we lost in the portal. Guys like Jalen Conyers, Robert Barnes, John Michael Terry, Tanner Mordecai. Chandler Morris, TJ Pledger, Charleston Rambo, those guys, that's a lot. I kept going and I felt like I keep having to say more. And that gave us plenty of scholarships to hand out, and we can be picky about it. And that's the great part, where we have so much space that transfers are going to want to come to us because they see an opportunity to do well. One of the best, blue bloods in the nation with a team that has 10 open scholarships. So there's no wonder why all these really good guys are coming in. Let's start off first talking about Juanya Morris, one of the first Tennessee transfers come in. He is an offensive tackle and started, I believe, 13 games at Tennessee. I'm not sure on the number, but around there. And he's been playing seriously as a tackle in SEC land since he was a freshman. So he has played 2 years. That means he'll have 3 years of eligibility left with the Sooners. So this is a big-time move for us. We don't know if he's going to be left tackle or right tackle. Bobby, do you think that left tackle or right tackle would be better for him moving forward with Adrian Ely going away?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be obviously an interesting point. I'm personally not super sure. It's tough to tell. Basically, I'm just improvising because I can't remember who we have at left and right now. The line has been as weak as it has been. So really, I guess it'll be interesting to see what, where Tennessee's guys are as compared to ours, where Juanya is in the hierarchy, when you throw him in there. I think it's going to be interesting who takes up the center role. And that,
definitely.
That'll change everything right there. So, yeah.
The thing is, we want Chris Murray to set into that center, the transfer from UCLA. Bill Bedenbaugh is really big on him. The thing is with Juanya Morris in the tackle position, just breaking it down, right tackle was Adrian Ely. There was no doubt about it for us last year. At the left tackle, Anton Harrison, the freshman, now sophomore, played a lot of good snaps there, but Swinson kept going out and playing left tackle. Swinson has returned on his free years, that they got with COVID. He was supposed to be a senior and graduating, but he's came back for depth purposes. So Juanya has played a lot of left tackle, not as much right tackle, but we have a spot open at right tackle. Swinson has been moved to right. So would you rather play young Anton Harrison of what he's played at more, or young Juanya Morris that it's what he's played at more? One of the two is going to have to adapt and play right tackle. And we can also look for Bray Walker at right tackle as well. So Ty, let's move on to another transfer. Have you seen much about Eric Gray, the running back from Tennessee?
I don't really know if I could even dive into that without just going into a monologue on trolling Tennessee. So if you want to handle that instead of it turning into a 30-minute dumpster fire.
But we need a little dumpster fire here. So I'll just give you a little update of what, Eric Gray, running back from Tennessee. He's got 4 years with us now, so he's been in for 2 years. He is really good. He was a 4-star coming out. Juanya Morris was a 5-star, but the way he's developed at Tennessee, all of the Tennessee fans that were talking, they lose one, you're like, okay, he's really good, but they're really upset about Eric Gray. They see something special in this kid, and Tennessee is imploding. And I saw a tweet, I think it was from Super K. He said, if you're Josh Heupel, the new coach of Tennessee, how are you going to convince all these players going to OU that you shouldn't go to OU? There's no way he can. There's nothing he can do. But I really want to hear about this dumpster fire thing. Ty, please.
No, and I think a point I did just realize is it's super significant. I know, just back to sort of my meta stuff. I think you guys all know I'm super big on successful transfer guys. Especially guys coming up from the JUCO because they've really worked for it. But Gray was a super highly touted recruit, obviously, but he went to an area where it was not guaranteed that he'd succeed, and he really did succeed at a system that is not good, that has been, perennially not good for a while. And it's super neat to see someone that wants to work and is in just a system where you're constantly failing, playing difficult teams, and putting up yards and stuff. As to Tennessee itself, it's just, I personally, the biggest thing that always gets me is, granted, not in COVID years, but I don't know how they sell 110,000 tickets plus to all of their home games. Like, they constantly sell out. Like, they have diehard fans in like orange and white checkered full outfits paying hundreds of dollars for season tickets to watch them get blown out by Vandy every year. It's just insane to me. But
I think for Tennessee, it's just, when you're a program that has had success, you just try to cling to the hope, and the hope that Tennessee will return. Anytime they get a modicum of success, they say it feels like '98. It's much like Texas or Texas A&M, or Arkansas. There are several programs around the country that are like that, but Tennessee, what a dumpster fire! You go from a year ago, like less than a year ago, making fun of OU for being 42nd in the recruiting rankings, to having OU ransack them, and their coach, who they thought was the future, getting sacked, no pun intended, because he was handing out money in McDonald's bags. It really just remarkably stupid.
I will say that Tennessee has shown a sort of a marked improvement in that their coaching search this time. They were able to pretty quickly find someone that was willing to take the job. I don't know if everyone remembers their last coaching search where they kept approaching people and people were like,
Well, because they tried to hire Shiano, and then I guess that wasn't good enough, so they fired or unhired him. And it was a mess then. It's a mess now.
I think it's really funny that it's Josh Heupel, and I think there's a ton of, I think there's a ton of jokes coming for us in the future.
It's going to be so bad.
This situation continues to develop. I don't know how Heupel took the job that he did, took that team that was super successful in claiming national championships, and really just sort of let them decline, and then was able to upgrade in a job. But
it's all about their leadership, I always forget his name, Bobby, but UCF. I almost said UFC again.
Well, and then the guy is like, his name is like Dan White. Danny White
Yes.
is the athletic director, formerly at UCF.
Because it's Dana and Dan, and it's just with UFC and UCF, so it's really confusing. But it was kind of just a lazy hire. I really think, he had a good relationship with Josh, and Josh obviously has this small man mentality. That's why he disowned himself with OU, does not really call himself an OU quarterback anymore, which I think is just ridiculous. He has this massive chip on his shoulder, and him going to SEC, low-end competition, just fits his bill so perfectly as a coach. And they're in a dumpster fire, and they lost so many of their young, good players. So good luck, Josh Heupel. I wish you the best. But I'll say one more thing about Eric Gray. I know this is huge, getting him, and I really think that I almost believe in him more so than Kennedy Brooks. And I understand that this is extremely big to say, but you have never seen really many stories at all of college players or, NFL players rarely, like a Ricky Williams, of taking years off and coming back. You've seen it with like a Marshawn Lynch and stuff. Those are veterans in the NFL.
Baker Mayfield.
Times, well, that's a different. You never really
Kyler Murray.
Those all happened very young, though. With Brooks, he's a seasoned vet. I'm interested to see, or to really find out if he's been doing anything with the program, because I know Jalen Redmond was with OU for a little bit practicing, and he returned, and we'll see how that goes. But in terms of Brooks, that's very interesting, because
I really just think that it's just, if you've played a year of football right before, I just believe in that more.
Yeah, because you're already in football shape a little bit. It's easier to transition a little bit when you've your last game was in November and not, November of the year before. I will say about Gray, I really like what I've seen there. He has that big playability, he has the 10th longest run in SEC history. Granted, it was against Vanderbilt, so SEC with an asterisk, but still, the guy has the ability to separate, to really hit the home run, whatever. You get the point. The guy has the potential to be an absolute star. And if he's not, he's just he is a lot of stability in a position group that really was looking like it was one injury away from being not remarkable. So definitely helps with our depth.
I think I actually agree with Jameson's statement on Brooks, and in no disrespect to Brooks, obviously, but Gray is a very known factor with a significantly worse, offensive play calling and offensive line than he's going to be working with here. So I don't see just looking at his past successes, obviously that's not always indicative of future results, but with what he was doing with a way worse conditions for himself, I expect great things. And it's another thing I just wanted to touch on real quick, like you talked about that home run ability. Is really cool, because I really feel like we have a lot of that building now. We saw a lot of those sort of big home run runs, maybe not all the way to the house, but those big home run runs from Seth McGowan in the bowl game, as he continues to develop. And it's going to be cool to see, multiple weapons back there, because we, in recent years, haven't really had multiple really reliable weapons out of the backfield. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the beginning of the season, we were really questioning that run game, and Ramondre Stevenson came in and bailed us out. And once Ramondre came back, McGowan and Major decided to look a little bit better because the run game was better, because Ramondre opened it up. It's just my thing with Kennedy. I'm just put this one more point, is the way he plays the game is he's not the most athletic guy in the field. He's not the fastest, but he's one of the smartest. He makes really good decision making, and that's all on intuition, instinct. I don't know how much of that instinct has gone away in a year. Baker Mayfield's a different story, but if we're talking Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray goes out there and he out-athleticizes you and just destroys you on the field. That's what he does. And there were so many plays in that year where he came back from his first year off. Also, remember, he didn't start his first year back. He still got to play games behind Baker. There were plays where we looked at him in that season where he started that was just like, what are you doing? Like there's a lot of bonehead moves, but his athleticism bailed him out a lot. I think Kennedy Brooks is still going to be the first string running back. I still think he's going to be our bell cow, but I think Eric Gray has every opportunity to go in and take it from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. And I do, I promise I'm going to keep it quick. Before we leave the Tennessee thing, just on the off chance that anyone that's like a Tennessee simp sees this and gets angry, I'm just going to invalidate all their arguments right away by acknowledging, yes, Tennessee last won a national championship only 2 years prior to OU's last national championship. So we can, we're just going to get that out of the way. That's not the standard of relevancy. We have remained relevant since then. So, just because someone might point that out, it has been 20 years plus for both teams. I'm worried about OU guys. Honestly, we're getting like each season that goes by that we don't win a national championship, I'm feeling more and more like Georgia, if we're being honest.
Oh man.
At least they recruit. The thing is, we're so lucky. So here's the thing with Tennessee is everyone's cheating in the SEC. You have to keep up to cheat. But whenever you're handing out money in a McDonald's bag, you can't be stupider than that. That's just obvious. You've got to do better ways. The thing is with Alabama, their recruits post pictures with them in their new cars as they commit. So that's pretty stupid, but they're not Tennessee. They're not going to come around like, Alabama would. Alabama is this like scary force that you never go after. Tennessee is just so sad that if they do something wrong, they say it. The SEC is like, yeah, we probably should go after that.
If it's blatant. Yeah. It's, McDonald's bags are are like a totally different thing compared to, I randomly have a Dodge Charger now. Like, I promise you, I'm just going into debt.
We really need to do a whole podcast on just recruiting conspiracies and violations.
It is, we really get into Schooner territory there. We go into the deep, dark depths of all comment boards and talk about bagmen. Yeah, I know we have them, but not SEC level. But it's really, really good that it seems like we're riding off other bagmen's money in the transfer portal because we get beat out for guys like Kamar Wheaton, guys at the end of the, Tristan Lee to those big colleges at the very end. And then we established such a good relationship with them now. They got their bag in the recruiting cycle. They're like, oh, man, this sucks. I'm going to go over to OU, and we don't have to pay them as much if we even do pay them. So I'm down for taking scraps. Like these aren't bad players we're getting. These are just players that are just tired with their situation. Moving on to the last Tennessee guy, Keyshawn Lawrence. He goes by Key now. Safety out of Tennessee. We were on big on him during his recruiting cycle 2 years ago. He thought he visited us. He thought about coming to OU, but he decided to stay close to home. And once this whole fire happened in Tennessee, he jumped right off, and it didn't take too much time of him in the portal moving on to OU. He's 6'2" safety, high-end 4-star, near 5-star guy. Exactly what you want in this defense. We know Grinch has a hard-on for Delaren Turner-Yell and Patrick Fields. But will he give up on them and give Keyshawn Lawrence a chance? That's what I really hope to see. Who would you rather be taken over, Patrick Fields or Keyshawn Lawrence, Bobby?
Oh, well, definitely.
Patrick Fields or Delaren Turner-Yell, Bobby.
Okay, so I like DTY. I like Turner-Yell quite a bit. So I definitely him. Fields I've been sour on for a little bit. So having a little bit more depth there where we don't have to play Fields as much and get a guy like Keyshawn Lawrence in, he has the physical, prototypical body that you want in a Grinch defense. He's big. He's, again, highly ranked. So, again, I haven't seen anything out of him at Tennessee, but I do know this. This is the type of player we need. If we can give him the coaching that, that could really take him to that level, heck yeah, let's do it. But just from a physical standpoint, he already looks the part more than Fields or Turner-Yell. So I don't know if he can get in the system, get acclimated, better, then yeah, of course, let's play the best guy at that position. But right now, I would definitely say, if we had to play a game tomorrow, I'd put him ahead of Fields, but not Turner-Yell.
Here's something about Lawrence. Jameson touched on the fact that he's 6'2", which is, no pun intended, huge for this defense. The last 40 speed that I can see on him online, which was prior to this last season, was a 4.5, which is fast for 6'2", 210. That's very fast, and that is some height that we need and some speed. So it is a possibility that maybe just his physical size and speed can make up for a little bit less of knowledge of the defense itself.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to take over the darlings of Grinch at the safety position. There's an opening in nickelback position. It's looking like Buki's going to come back, but he's not said anything. But it's been wide open this whole year. We were looking for someone to step up. We could put him there, but if we believe in him this much, we want to get him on the field as a solidified starter for us moving forward, we should probably just stick him at one position and not try to move him too much. And I think that's the free safety position. I know a lot of people are high on Bryson Washington, that free safety position, but he missed so much time with COVID protocols last year that I think Keyshawn Lawrence, is just too good not to try there as well. But we need to take over Pat Fields because he does not have a good season once again. I understand he's a big leader in the locker room. He was our defensive captain, but there's a lot to fix in that secondary, and he's one of the heads of that dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a position we sorely needed more depth at, and I'm thrilled that we got it. Again, all three positions, stuff we needed depth at. It just an absolute luck on our end that we got it all from the same place. Also, Keyshawn Lawrence, friends with Woody Washington.
Yeah,
so
we got a big time Tennessee. We got 3 people from Tennessee's college, and we have Reggie Grimes and Woody Washington from Tennessee. So we have Tennessee as a pipeline now, pretty much. We could use it. I know that's really weird to say, but we have it as a pipeline. If you're playing NCAA 14, if you got 5 people from Tennessee, you got that pipeline state. So you're good to go. But yeah, that's the thing. If you were looking at this team next for looking at it next year, if I was looking at the biggest weaknesses, I'd say we need one tackle for sure because Swinson ain't going to cut it. I like what I've seen out of our young guys. Stacey Wilkins took the year off. He might vie for a tackle spot, but we needed one. Juanya Morris, huge. The second one is I'm really nervous about the safety. Keyshawn Lawrence says, and number 3 is I'm nervous about Kennedy Brooks. And there you go. There's not a position on this field that I'm worried about now. I feel like we have solid at every single position on this team now, except for nickelback maybe. With Buki, I understand. I understand he's done well, but he's just a little bit shaky there. Justin Harrington coming off ACL surgery, 6'3", amazing speed. Faster than Keyshawn Lawrence kind of guy. This is definitely going to be a spot there. So definitely good moving forward. Just to hit on the other transfers that we got from the portal, just quick notes. We really don't have to talk about them. We got Robert Congle from Arizona. He's an offensive lineman. Will be a grad transfer depth piece. Nothing really too big to be excited about there. And then Micah Bowens, we thought he was going to walk on as a quarterback from Penn State, a 3-star guy coming out of there. And it looks like we did end up giving him a scholarship. And we didn't have much in our quarterback room to where we kind of needed to do something like this. We haven't heard much about we've heard Chandler Morris is gone. We heard Mordecai is gone. Tanner Schaefer we haven't heard from. That does not leave much depth other than Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler. So Micah Bowens was a much needed move there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to send out a guy who got out a year early, and Caleb Williams, who is just physically not as matured. So having that depth that's massive. Even though he might not really ever see the field, just having him there that's huge.
Yes. Well, and it might even be a factor, and this is a factor with the transfer portal the way that it is. Obviously we're getting something from him, and like you guys are talking about that level of depth and security, but it's definitely not beyond the realm of possibility that he's going to come and hang out for a year or two, and be coached by Lincoln Riley and then go on to a similar maybe middle bottom tier Power 5 school and play out his last years of eligibility. It's absolutely, I'm not saying yes, not to start like a conspiracy or saying those are his intentions, but that's definitely a factor nowadays with the transfer portal the way that it is, and especially with Riley's success with quarterbacks. Yeah, which is a good thing because it does something for us. When we get in these situations where we're worried about depth, when we're talking about, linemen and really anyone offensively, we start to look really appealing for guys that have skill and have abilities and want to transfer. So it definitely really helps us. Success breeds success for sure.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier. You know how some players that don't do well at D1, maybe he went to Penn State and he bit off too much, that he couldn't chew, and then they go to JUCO to kind of revamp their stock. You can come to OU as a quarterback, walk on or scholarship, and not do anything, and your stock's higher for the next year moving forward.
Well, it's like being an assistant coach at Bama, really. And I'm not even trying to make a joke there. Like it's you can be a guy that is not. And this is not the case with our guys that have transferred this year. No disrespect to them, but you could be a dude that is not good. Like if we got just for hypothetical speak, if Tate Martell transferred to OU, if he had another year of eligibility after this, Tate Martell could come to OU for a year, not play a single snap, and then go land a very significant starting job. I guarantee it. Just on hype, like he's like the Lane Kiffin of playing quarterback, but it's like I see it as a very similar thing to being an assistant coach at Bama. You don't even have to be good; you just have to be there for a little bit, and then your stock goes up.
Yeah, you just
Stoops.
Yeah, just spend a year at the Lincoln Riley School for quarterbacks who can't throw so good, and then you're an appealing spot for a TCU or an SMU. So yeah, I mean that's the way college football works now, and I'm all for it. That's someone, I can't remember, one of you said earlier, success breeds success. And, having
I did. I'm the first person ever to have said that.
Tylee. Michael Scott. It really is an opportunity to not only just learn from a great coach, but to go up against guys every day, you take that and move on to whatever school you go to, and you get better from there. So I think that's cool. Definitely a plus, because, we're not going to play every one of these guys, but if you have guys in the locker room that theoretically could play somewhere, even if they do leave, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And we got a couple walk-on quarterbacks as well during this transfer time. Ben Harris from Carl Albert, and then Ralph Rucker from Lovejoy. Carl Albert's football team is just amazing, great leader, great guy to have as a walk-on just in case, just in your locker room. Maybe he could use this stock. So that's really it for our transfers. I don't foresee us really, hearing too much more on the transfer front moving forward. The other name that we're looking at is Big Cat Williams out of Auburn. Great name, Big Cat. We're searching for him, and he did commit to Tennessee. And then once all of this happened, he deleted all of his posts. And allegedly, his high school quarterback was on staff at Tennessee, and then they sacked him. So they don't know what's going on there. I think he's just trying to figure out what's going on. Could come to OU, could go back to Auburn, could stay at Tennessee. We don't know. But that's the last name to look for in the transfer portal, and probably until spring, until we see more. But we've taken all of the good Easter eggs right now. There's really not much to go through.
Is he related to Barstool Big Cat? Or no?
I highly doubt it.
A different side of the Big Cat clan.
This Big Cat is spelled with a K. It's Big K-A-T. So
it's not even like it. It's not even like his nickname. You look him up online, his name is Big Cat. Capital B-I-G space capital K-A-T. And I would love to have him, even if he didn't play much. Our defensive line is going to be our strongest position next year. But it would be nice to have one, defensive end as depth, just in case with Jalen Redmond. Jalen Redmond's injury history. He's fragile with stuff. He sometimes would just sit out random games, so we wouldn't know why. Marcus Stripling would be the backup to Jalen Redmond at that D end, who I believe in a lot, but it would not hurt at all having another piece behind him, especially too. So yeah, we'll look for Big Cat. We'll hope for it. But if not, we still have scholarship opportunities. And if someone else hits the transfer portal in the spring, maybe a big time wide receiver, that's what I would want as the last one to move in the portal. So let's just talk about now moving on to our early enrollees from recruits, and we'll get a little bit of a long recruit and corner segment here. The big news of this week is we did not think Billy Bowman out of Denton was going to enroll early, and he showed up in Norman, and he's enrolled early, joining that wide receiver room that has plenty of opportunity written all over it with the unsure of Trajan Bridges, Theo Weiss, and Jaden Hazelwood. So Billy Bowman, Mario Williams. Do you think they can make a Marvin Mims experience like we had this year, Bobby?
I feel like you almost said a Marvin Mims explosion, which
I almost did. Which I changed it to experience.
So, honestly, I really love both Bowman and Williams. Williams, seriously one of the probably the fastest guy we've had since Hollywood Brown in terms of just a dead speed type of guy. And I think if anyone can blow up, it's him. I love, don't get me wrong, love Billy Bowman. Think he's a solid receiver, but in terms of guys who add stuff that we just didn't have last year, I think Mario Williams is a piece that we didn't. He adds something to OU that I think is going to be absolutely invaluable, and a great target for guys like Spencer Rattler who can really launch that thing. I think my pick's definitely Williams to be a major, big impact type of guy.
We don't care who you are and how old you are. If you go out and produce, you're going to get spots at the wide receiver position. So I think Mario Williams has a clear role to go in there. If he wants to play slot, he has got all of the slot opportunity in the world in this team because we have not, Drake Stoops is great, but, is that the guy you want moving forward in a national championship team? He's not your prototype wide receiver for a blue blood kind of guy. He's a good hustle, but I would not want him as my starting slot. Trajan Bridges, at that slot position, but you never know with Trajan. So Mario Williams, I would love to see a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
Ty, have you seen much about Mario Williams? Have you seen his tape?
I have not, but just to, without going, full Schooner, again, to echo that, no disrespect to Drake Stoops. I feel like I've said no disrespect like 15 times on this pod. But he shouldn't be, starting like he is, like we talked about. And you guys know I have my whole rants on the 2019 receiving class that no one is able to refute because it's just a fact. But it is, anyone that we can get in there is going to be a weapon, regardless of if they're an all-the-time guy, because we do have Drake who is going to go out there and give you his effort all the time. So any weapons that are added is a really cool thing, especially someone with some real speed is super cool too. I feel like that'll complement Mims really well. And maybe what I'm seeing with these two guys, the little bit that I've seen about Mario and then with Mims, hopefully maybe, fingers crossed, we get that sort of a CD and then early Rambo dynamic where Rambo was actually putting in effort, but we'll see.
Yeah. One thing I do like about this is we're so deep we can start mixing and matching types of guys we have and really give the defense a ton of different looks, and that versatility is really nice.
Yeah, you could almost say that we're too deep.
We too deep? Oh, you?
Man, the big thing that we don't talk about a lot with these wide receivers getting in early is they came in early with Caleb Williams too, and the more time for them to grow together as a pair will have great rewards in the future. If you can get a relationship between Mario Williams, Billy Bowman, and Caleb Williams throwing the ball to them, that is once they get the reins and they're the starting guys here in 2 years, hopefully there's an instantaneous connection where there's no drop off. Sometimes you'll see the new quarterback come in, but he's been playing backup and throwing to the twos wide receivers, and now he's starting to throw to the ones. If we can keep those same guys and move them together as like a cohort, I think that's a really big move forward. We did not think Caleb Williams was going to early enrollee, and then surprise, he's dual enrolled in high school classes online out of DC, living in Norman, and also going to college. So I don't know how that worked out, but it's crazy what happens whenever you're the best high school player in the country.
Yeah, it is. I guess so. His dedication to OU and everything, and to getting in the system as literally quick as possible is really, really, really cool. And I'm excited to see him play for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next guy I want to bring up with the early enrollees that I think is probably, we got two more guys I think could make early impacts is Latrell Mccutchen at the cornerback position. DJ Graham was really good for us as a freshman cornerback last year. We saw it before, with Jaden Davis. Freshmen come in and get opportunities to do well. Latrell Mccutchen is your prototype Grinch guy, 6'1", fast and long, and wants to be a Darrell Reeves type of guy, put you on an island. He's going to have the opportunity to do exactly that. And plus, with losing Trey Brown and Trey Norwood, there's so much opportunity in this cornerback room. Will Devon Graham DJ Graham stay at cornerback? Because there is rumors he wants to move to offense because that's what he truly enjoys more. So Latrell Mccutchen, huge name to look at moving forward. Something really fun if we do get a spring game to see where he ends up in the depth chart.
Yeah,
and then one more defender, just a quick little note, is Clayton Smith. He got bumped up to a 5-star on Rivals, defensive end out of Texarkana. Jamar Cain came in first year and said, I'm going to go grab a 5-star defensive end out of Texas. And he did it. That's just nuts. That Jamar Cain we heard that he had such a great relationship with his players, really good recruiter, came in, and now he's a Lincoln guy. And it's great, and we don't want to lose him. We've struck gold. And Clayton Smith, the reports on that whenever he came in as an early enrollee this week, the dude just looks ripped and big, like a legitimate man. He does not look like a freshman. So that will be another really fun guy to watch moving forward there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And Jamar Cain, I feel like we talked a lot about it in last year's offseason about how big he's going to be for recruiting and the D-line. And then the D-line just blew up last year. And we kind of hadn't talked about him a ton. At least we accredit it to Grinch and Perkins and all that. But Jamar Cain was, immensely important there. I mean, that's our best D-line since probably 2013, that Sugar Bowl run we had. So, I love it. Just in 1 year, having that much impact, incredible stuff.
Yeah, and so, moving forward, it's going to be really fun. Ty, where do you think in all of college football, who, like talent-wise, not ranking-wise, how many teams are more talented than OU going into next year?
I mean, that's rough. I think if you split it between offense and defense, I think offensively you would be very hard-pressed to make an argument that OU isn't somewhere in the top 3 for sure. Defensively, we've definitely gotten a lot better. I think we're for sure top 25 if we're just looking at personnel talents, but I think maybe as a whole, as a team, and I understand, this is very closely tied to recruiting classes. That's, hit or miss there. I think we're definitely top 10 as a team for sure. And I don't think that I would have made that statement in regards to the entire team probably since like 2008. So it's, I think we have great potential this year because we are a more complete team, in my opinion, going into next year than we have been in a long time. It's, when we're discussing this future team, and I know we're way too early right now, you just hear our discussions and other OU sports, sources discussions are about, these are going to work with this and this and this, and that's how we're going to succeed. Whereas in the past, you would hear those, we're going to rely on our offense to cover our defense, or we're going to rely on insert player name here to carry the defense, or we're going to rely on insert quarterback here to make up for the lack of running backs, or we're going to have to rely on insert receiver to cover the other receivers. And we have those big talented names in a lot of them. And now you're hearing the discussion across the board shifting away from this. We're going to have to rely on insert player or position group to carry the others. More towards this is really going to complement this. And I'm not saying we don't have weaknesses, but we're definitely very talented. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely, this is our window. This is our moment. Not just because we have we've figured out the defense. We're a more well-rounded team, and we have a returning quarterback who knows the system. He finally has all of his weapons either healthy or off suspension. The defense is humming. We've filled out all of our positions that are weak. And more than that, the opposition is a little bit down. You have Alabama who, again, They reload every year. They're going to be incredible. But, starting off with a new quarterback who hasn't taken, a real meaningful snap yet, you lose Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. You don't have a huge group of wide receivers or, Najee Harris coming back. But they're going to be good. Don't get me wrong. They'll be killers. Definitely the headliners. But other than that, you have Ohio State, who's well-rounded, but also missing Justin Fields. Clemson, who, missing Trevor Lawrence and has kind of taken a dip in terms of depth, but they're still going to be deadly. Other than that, it's probably Georgia, and that's it. So as far as experience goes, as far as well-rounded goes, this is the best OU team I think we've had since we've started, or it has the potential to be the best. It's the most well-rounded team, or projects to be the most well-rounded team we've had since 2015. This is the moment. And, Oklahoma, I mean, the stakes have never been higher. The last time they were this high was 2017. The schedule sets up well for OU. Their biggest competition, Iowa State, is in Norman. TCU in Norman. Oklahoma State, not good this year. Non-conference, kind of a joke. Your road game's Tulane. And then you got Nebraska, who is just utter sewage trash. Like, they're so bad. We're fine. And then Western Carolina. OU is set up for a really good run here. They just have to make it count, and avoid tripping up, and then also try to get in that Cotton Bowl semifinal. Having a semifinal that close to home, that just sets you up right there. So it's all out there for OU, but they just have to capitalize. They have to not make mistakes and just come to every game like it's a national championship, which is, I know, a very hokey thing to say, but that's what has always gotten OU. Overconfidence, tripping to bad teams, tripping to teams they shouldn't lose to, and not running through the finish line in the fourth quarters. If they do that, and they have the capability to do that, I think this is a team that can win the national championship.
Yeah, I feel very confident in comparison to other teams that I've ever felt in my recent memory of OU this year. And it goes along with what you said. Let's just take, for example, ESPN's preseason top 25. I understand they do this, does not mean a lot. But number one on there is Clemson, and they lost Trevor Lawrence. They lost Travis Etienne, and they've got a young quarterback going in DJ Uiagalelei, or however you say it. I feel like I'm really close. Coming in, young quarterback can trip up, no matter, it can happen. Alabama, number 2, They're losing Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. But the biggest thing we don't talk about is they're losing pretty much their whole offensive line. Alex Leatherwood, Landon Dickerson, Deontay Brown, the other really good offensive tackle that they have. It's going to be a big loss for them. And Bryce Young, while I think he's like a dark horse kind of guy, is a breakout big-time player this year. I don't know if it's how much of a dark horse it is. I just really believe in Bryce Young. He's young, playing in SEC, and there's a chance to trip up there. When you're a young quarterback into the spotlight, you don't have as much of a history there. There's a chance to trip up. We're number 3. If you're comparing any other team in the top 6, so there would be Georgia at 4, Ohio State at 5, Texas A&M at 6. All of 5 of the other 6 teams have lost their starting quarterback. We have ours, and we have a very solid team. I feel very good moving forward. If you go down to the top 25 projected, North Carolina at 7 is the first person to have their quarterback back, but they lose both of their running backs, is what made them so special as a team in North Carolina, which I think they will take a dip because they've lost so much good at running back there.
Yeah,
they're still a very serious threat for Clemson. I think, especially this year. I will say no one has touched on it with Bama as well. It's even with the people that they are retaining, especially offensively, they have that massive coaching staff turnover. So those relationships and expectations, I'm not saying, that their coaches were, obviously Saban is the one that matters and he's staying, but those sort of expectations and relationships are now changing slightly for the guys that are staying as well. So it's going to be, it's Bama, it's Nick Saban. They're going to be good either way. But they're not at their peak, and we've sort of, just by coincidence, reached this situation where we are sort of peaking more or less, or should be at around our apex with this OU team, and some of the other traditional powerhouses have been have peaked very recently and are now on a decline as they build back up for that launch. Clemson and Bama, especially. I'm not worried about Ohio State, but I think they're very similar to OU, and they always pull someone out and end up successful, and they come out of their season less beat up than some other teams as well. So
yeah,
Yeah,
to quote
it's
the
gonna be
great
fun.
Dennis Reynolds, we have not even begun to peak.
Yeah,
peak.
but
Peak.
yeah,
Um,
this is good. I believe in us next season. But other than that, Bobby, you want to take us home?
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to touch on the Alabama point about their coaching staff. Although Sarkisian, huge loss. You replaced. You added 2 NFL head coaches to your mix with Doug Marrone and Bill O'Brien. Look, I know Bill O'Brien was a dumpster fire with Houston, but that's still 2 big hires. So Alabama, they're doing fine, but this is definitely the weakest, the wobbliest they've looked, which is still not very wobbly. It's like a table that's just kind of moving a little bit, but they're still just nuclearly great. But I don't know. Let's close this out. So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the success of OU basketball this year. What a run for the Sooners. They are currently on their three straight top 10 game, going against Alabama on Saturday. I, for one, am very hyped. Jameson, what are your thoughts on OU basketball, and do you think they can make a run this year?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we were, with Brady Manick going down, COVID and everything, I felt like this was a time we were about to trip up. Coming back, he didn't look like he was returning that well. But the way that Davion Harmon has stepped up this season, especially as of recently, has been extremely something that we needed. He was a guy that I was worried about last year if he was too small. Sometimes he just drive the lane and just get blocked. He couldn't create too much for himself. But he's came into himself looking like a huge piece for us. Whenever you have Austin Reeves, the most hateable guy in all of the basketball next to you, anything is possible. But yeah, I don't know if this is a poised to be a team that's national champion, but with college basketball this year, Gonzaga, Baylor, just too good for everyone else. But definitely a team to be fun, make some noise in the Big 12, and hopefully win a couple games in the tournament. I think OU definitely has that in the cards and should be probably, if they keep this up, probably a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah, I mean they're a gritty, tough, fun team, and the additions of Emoji Gibson, I somehow botched Gibson, Emoji Gibson, and Alondis Williams kind of coming up a little bit better. This is one of the deepest teams we've had probably since 2016. So I've really enjoyed watching this team play. Once Manick gets a little healthier after his COVID time away, that is going to be a huge plus. But Ty, your thoughts on OU basketball this year?
Yeah, it's super. I don't think we're close to a national championship team, but I think we're poised to make a good run. I think everyone is pleasantly surprised at our in-conference success, which is always fun. It's just that's how I see basketball. I'm not super invested in it. If we're not good, then we're not good. But if we're good, then it's super fun to see. So that's super cool. I know, Bobby, I was telling you before the pod, one of the significant things I was seeing was just across the board, we had just the tiniest little, 1 to 2% across the board increase in, shooting. And it's made a really significant difference. I know this team last year, you would go to games and everyone was shooting like 15 to 20%. So it was really disappointing because you'd have a super, super cool play and then just someone just missing a wide open shot. And we've cleaned that up a little bit this year. So it's significantly more fun to attend the games regardless. But I think that has been a key to our success. And I think we'll make it, and I think we'll make a neat little run. Might be a Cinderella for a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, a Sweet 16, Elite 8 type run would be amazing. But that's probably the cap for OU. But hey, that's the thing. This is going to be the strangest March Madness of all time, with all of it taking place in Indianapolis. Presumably no fans. So it's going to be a wild time, but I'm here for it. I'm excited. But anyways,
it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we have in terms of OU football content and Tennessee dumpster fire stuff. But yeah, as stuff goes along in this offseason, we'll periodically pop in and let you know about it. So yeah, the long off season is just beginning, and we got this. We're actually doing podcasts for this off season, so that's very fun. But anyways. For me, Jameson, and Ty, this has been the Schooner Pod. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Boomer Sooner.
David.
Yes?
What is this, David?
This is a
Fruit in Corner with Jamison.
Everybody